Welcome to Killer Women with your host, best-selling author Danielle Girard. And now, Danielle's next killer woman.
Hello, and welcome to Killer Women Podcast, a proud member of the Authors on the Air global network with more than 4 million listeners. I am your host, suspense author Danielle Girard, and my guest today is Magen Mintchev. Magen is a social media strategist, content creator, and founder of Social with Magen, a boutique social media agency helping authors, brands, and executives grow with clarity and strategy. After 20 plus years in marketing communications for global tech companies, banks, and newspapers, she launched her agency in 2023 and now partners with clients across the B2B tech, publishing, writing, and education industries to craft authentic, data-driven social media strategies. Magen also runs the popular Bookstagram account Bone Chilling Books and co-leads a virtual book club with nearly 3,000 members worldwide, uniting readers around their shared love of thrillers and mysteries. Born in Maine, Magen now lives in Tulsa, Oklahoma, with her husband and 2 sons. And when she's not reading thrillers, she's likely strategizing social campaigns or watching true crime documentaries. Welcome, Magen.
Yeah, thank you. I'm very excited to be here. This is
I'm so
awesome.
excited to have you. I feel like we connected over Whiteout. It was like the first book that
Yes.
we found each other, and that was what, 20, I guess I should know this, right? That was 2020, I think.
Yeah, that was when I first got on to the Bookstagram scene, actually. It was
Oh,
5 years
okay, that's so
ago.
fun. So
Yeah.
I've been along for the ride with you, and your platform has exploded. You've got a book club. You were all over. I know you were just over in, well, you were in the Czech Republic. Where were you with Dan Brown?
I was over in Prague.
Prague. Yeah,
Yeah, it
that's
was
kind of
so
a
cool.
cool
It was,
gig, huh?
yeah, it was amazing.
How did you get to do that?
So I was in Aruba in June with my parents and my kids and my husband. We were celebrating my parents' 50th wedding anniversary, and we were just taking a break because I was like, I'm gonna put my phone down. I'm not gonna look at it. But we were in the room after like a long day at the beach, being outside, and we were all just super tired. I was laying on the bed. All right, I'm gonna check my emails. So I check my email. All of a sudden, Abby Endler
Yeah.
from Signed by the Book. Okay, so I get an email from her because, of course, she works in publishing, and I get an email from her, and she was like, "Hey, I just wanted to see if you'd be interested in going to Prague." And I was like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah.
I think I'm pretty sure I wrote back like, "Is this a joke?"
Yeah. Yeah.
And so she's like, "No, this is very much a very real, serious thing." And I was like, "Okay, great. Tell me all the details." And I mean, I at first I said yes, like I didn't even know the details, but I was like, yes, of course.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but then yeah, and she filled me in. It was for Dan Brown promoting his Secret of Secrets Robert Langdon book that was coming out on September 9th, and I was like, yes, I'm in, but also like pinch me, I'm dreaming because
Yeah.
what the heck? So.
Yeah, so when you started your bone chilling books, like what was your thought? Like you obviously love thrillers, so you're like, this is just like a fun way to, got 2 kids at home. There's moments where you're like, I just need to be thinking about something other probably than the little kids.
Yeah.
What was what did you ever imagine? I mean,
No. So I was living in Houston, Texas at the time, and my neighbor, Stephanie, I went into her room, oh my gosh, I went into her house one day and her office, I guess you would call it, although it's like now a library, floor to ceiling books. And I was like, what is this? Like, what are you doing? How did you do this? She's
yeah,
like, oh, I have my Bookstagram account and publishers, authors, they all send me books. And I was like, what is Bookstagram? And she's like, well, it's this account where, explains it to me. It's like corner of the internet with all these books. And I was like, okay, this is really cool. However, little did I know I was already following Abby, Crime by the Book, on my personal page, but didn't realize that's what Bookstagram was, right? I was just following along and she would share her love of thriller books, which obviously I love. So anyway, Stephanie's like, yeah, and if you're into reading this much and you're doing that, like, why don't you create one? I was like, yeah, maybe. But so of course I ruminated a little bit, went back home, and then I was like, you know what? It would be really cool because I'm spending all this money on books. Like my goal would be to get as many books as possible, right? Well, so I started at what, March 2020. I got my first book from Karen Dietrich. It was Girl on the Edge, I believe is what it was called. And then I was just like, holy cow, I can't believe I got my first book. And then it was July 4th, I believe, Geneva Rose's book, The Perfect Marriage, was coming out. And she was like, reached out to me and she's like, hey, I would love if you would review this. And I was like, I mean, yeah, of course. So reviewed that. And then it just kind of snowballed from there. I kept posting and people kept seeing it. And then just,
And
yeah, publisher.
how many followers are you up to now?
I am at almost 98,000.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
so close.
so crazy. Yeah, you'll be at 100,000 probably before we even air. But
Yeah.
and now just on average, how many books show up at your house every week?
It it depends, but for a while I was getting like probably 20 to 40 books in a week and I was like, "Oh no, my husband's gonna kill me," because I have books everywhere. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yes.
they're everywhere. So, yeah. But then of course like some weeks it's like maybe two or whatever, which still grateful for
Yes.
that.
Yes. And how many books do you think you read in a year?
Well, last year, so I started my business in October 23 and I
Yeah.
was really trying to, so I kind of put Bookstagram, unfortunately, a little bit on the back burner,
Okay, yeah.
which it pained me honestly to do that because I love creating the content. I love reading the books. But anyway, so it kind of trickled down. I think I read 32 last year, but this year I'm probably going to end around 65, I
Yeah.
hope.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And how do you choose them? I mean, that's got to be so hard because there's so many.
Yeah, I know. And that's another thing that pains me because I'm like, I get all these books and I'm like, yes, I'm going to read you and you and you. And then I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, but I can't. So honestly, it's just, if I get one that I know that I'm super excited about, then yes, I will prioritize that. If there's one that's like obviously for my book club, I'll prioritize that.
Right.
If there's one that, I talked to an author and we just really vibe, hit it off, say at like BoucherCon or one of those. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to prioritize that for sure. Or if it's
Right.
even, a smaller author who really just needs the push, then I
Right.
usually bump
So
that
many,
up.
I mean, right. So many authors don't really need our help, even though there's, there's some auto buy. Well, I mean, I think it's amazing. Also, I love like now I see you at conferences. Like
Yeah.
for a while there was like we didn't really see bookstagrammers in the conference world. And now I feel like I saw you at Thriller Fest. I saw you at BoucherCon. I love, and you're at the publisher party. That's so fun. It's like, I love that because it makes so much sense to include, reviewers and book lovers, because self-promotion is horrible. It's the
Yeah.
worst part of this job is to be like, read my book. So it's so much better to be like, hey, take a look at this book if you love it. Awesome. So that's sort of one of the reasons we're here. This is episode 200. I can't believe I know we can, and
So
Abby
cool.
Emler came and joined me for episode 150. So we get some fun perspective from people other than authors every once in a while. And so we're going to talk about your favorite 5 books from 2025. And
Okay.
you tell us what particular order, or no particular order, just give it to us, girl. What were the best books of this year?
All right. So no particular order, really, but and I mean this is so hard to choose anyway. But anyway, the first one I'm going to say is We Are All Guilty Here by Karen Slaughter. She just blew it out of the water with this one. It's a new series too that she started. So just one of my favorites. And I don't know if you know Karen Slaughter. I mean, obviously I don't know her, but like having interviewed her a couple times, her personality really, I feel
Yeah,
like came out in this book too.
yeah, yeah.
So
She's
yeah.
got such a dry humor. She's so funny,
Yes.
dry.
Yep.
It's funny. I have that. I was before we started recording it. I know that book is in this room somewhere.
Yeah.
No idea, can't find it. But I was a little nervous. I don't know how you felt. I was a little nervous to leave the world that we have loved for so long. Even though I know she's done the standalone sort of in between, and I was like, God, can she? Is she setting up a series that we're gonna? It will be another auto buy series for us, but I loved that book. I thought
Yeah.
and the twist just kept down to the very end. I was like, oh my God,
And
that's
I think that's why, like, okay, first of all, her books are pretty thick. I mean,
yeah,
it's Karen Slaughter, so it is. And typically I like kind of shy away from really thick books, but at the end of the day, those end up being my favorites, which
I
is
know.
kind of funny. So, yeah, I was a little nervous, yes, new series. However, I was still very excited, like, ooh, what is she gonna do? And what was really cool about this book is that it was so she's been writing for 25 years. This was her 25th novel,
Yeah.
which was really cool. So anyway, getting to learn the new characters and everything, but like you said, the twist after twist after twist, and I was like, okay, as if there's any more that can come out, and it does.
And then there were, yeah, exactly. Well, and think about that. Like I mean, I published a lot of books. I've been publishing almost exactly 25 years too. I do not have 25 books. To keep on that schedule for 25 years and put out a book like that every year, I mean, that
Yeah.
is, she's in a league of her own. So she
Hmm.
absolutely deserves to be, I agree, on the best of 2025. I love that book. So, okay, what do you have first next?
Okay. Speaking of being on a league of his own,
Yes.
is S.A. Cosby. I mean, this guy, he's like way up here. You can't touch him. But anyway, King of Ashes was absolutely amazing. Loved it, loved it. Everyone out there needs to read it. That's all I'm gonna say.
That one's, I have not read that one yet. It's on my to be read, but I've heard amazing things about it. Can you give us just a snippet of, or like, what was it about it that was so compelling?
I
Um,
mean, the way he writes anyway, it's like it's literary, but
yeah,
it's still thrilling. It's edge of your seat. It's suspenseful. It's just I call it his Seanisms that he writes in there. A lot of anecdotes and stuff, and just these analogies that he's always writing. It's I don't know, profound writing. That's all I gotta say.
Sean is, I love
But
it.
it really also is very emotional and raw and tugs at your heartstrings, which I think he does very well in all of his books, but this one, especially for whatever reason, really got to me
Okay,
on all of the twists. So,
okay,
all of
that's super exciting. All right,
it.
well, I've got that one. I got to pull that to the top of the list. Okay,
Yeah.
what do we have next?
Okay, so I actually have two in here from her.
Okay, I don't
But
know
Tiffany
her,
D.
so yeah,
Jackson,
tell us
this
about her.
scammer. So she's a young adult author. She writes young adult books very, very well. Have loved all of her books. Monday's Not Coming, Allegedly, White Smoke, The Weight of the Blood. Just fantastic writer. Um, this one in particular, and what I find really interesting about her books is that she will take true events that have happened and basically turn them into a fiction story based on true events. So, this one in particular, The Scammer, is based on this well, okay, the true events that it's based on is this guy who ends up going, he's a dad. Doesn't happen in this book, but in real life, he goes to I think it's his daughter's Sarah Lawrence University, ends up living with her after he gets out of prison. And then it's kind of like a cult following where like all of her friends and dorm mates and everything come in and are basically brainwashed, etc., by this guy. And it's a whole mess. So, loosely based on that for this. Obviously, it's different characters and different, motives and stuff, but excellent, excellent job of writing that. Love it.
Even another book by her. So she really, I love this because that's a huge accolade. Okay, what have we got there? And
This is an
these are both YA?
Well, this one's actually her first middle grade.
Okay,
So,
okay.
which I find I'm like I feel weird as a 42-year-old reading this
No,
stuff, but at the
no.
same time it's so good and it's very short.
Yeah.
And I mainly got it for because I have a 9-year-old and I'm like and he loves reading and I'm like we can read this together because like, it's
Yeah, yeah.
big lettering. But anyway, really fun, takes place in Martha's Vineyard and it's just enough of suspense. Like I always say, because of course, growing up, I was like R.L. Stein, Goosebumps series, right?
Yeah.
So I wish that I also had her as my 9-year-old self to be like, ooh, this is scary. And I mean, even as a 42-year-old, I was like, wow, this is pretty intense for a middle grade. So she kills it there with her
I love
book.
that. And I actually really, I love reading. We used to go on spring break with my kids are grown now, but when they were younger, I would go and buy like five or six of the sort of newest, young adult, and then take them on the week vacation. And I would manage to read three or four of them because they're so, lovely and short and fast.
Yeah.
And the kids would each pick up one or two. And I love that. It's just a different experience and so fun to get to read a little bit younger, right? They go
Yeah.
so, and I love, and of course, the fact that yeah, you have to. In fact, I'll have to get some ideas from you about those boys about what they're reading because that's
Yeah.
cool. Okay, and then I know you have one more, and I
Yes.
think yeah, that's one I actually found. That one I actually managed to find on
Yep.
myself.
Forget
And
me not.
she is, yeah, she's magical, right?
She is. I absolutely love her books. I love her writing. Again, talking about someone who writes very emotional and raw, she's definitely that author.
Yes.
So, and the really cool thing too is every single time I read her books, I'm like there with her characters, and just living everything and just glued to the page, every single word. So,
And
yeah.
talk about the twists that keep coming to the end.
Yes.
And that Southern, there's something about the South that
Hmm.
she captures so just a whole level of sort of darkness and family secrets. And no, I agree. She's Stacey Willingham is I guess we should have said her name out loud. Um, she's she's amazing. So that's super fun. So Tiffany Jackson, S.A. Cosby, Sean Cosby. Um, Karen Slaughter, of course, and then Stacey Willingham,
Yep.
incredible collection. Such talented authors and so many good books. Okay, so now we were going to talk a little bit about, since here we are, it's December when you're listening to this, and it's the end of 2025 somehow. And so 2026 is upon us. And so what are you most excited about so far for 2026?
Okay, so I feel like this was way harder to choose than even 2025 because I'm excited for literally all of them. But I'll start with Blade by Wendy Walker.
I have that one too. Yep. She's coming on the show.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I love her. I actually was able to meet her at BoucherCon for the first time.
Yes.
That was really fantastic.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Um, Warning Signs by Tracy Sierra.
Okay, and she's the author of what was the
Night
first?
Watching.
Yeah, Night Watching, which if you
Yeah.
haven't read that, I read that one. That is so creepy about a mom and her two kids are hiding in a house when somebody intrudes.
Yep.
And yeah, and that is one of the most claustrophobic, terrifying books I've ever read in my whole life. So yeah.
Yep. And I read that when my husband was gone and it was nighttime and both my boys were sleeping upstairs and I was like, okay, well this was stupid to read that.
Yeah,
So
that's not now it's not the time for this. Yeah.
yeah. Next one is Ours is a Tale of Murder by Nora Murphy. I love her books. And she has The Favor and The New Mother out. Absolutely loved those books. So I'm very excited because it's been, I want to say, maybe a couple years since she's put anything out. So I'm like, yay, she came out with something new.
She's a
So
brand new author. I've never heard that name. It's crazy to me to be in this business for so long and still be like, wait, I've never heard of that. Both Tiffany Jackson and Nora Murphy, I don't know either of them. So now it's like a whole
okay.
nother. So thank you for that. Even for me, it's a
I
whole
love it. Well,
new.
I'm doing my job as an influencer, I
Yes,
guess.
you are. You are influencing up the storm.
Another great author, Will Dean Adrift. He is fantastic. I met him at Thriller Fest. Fantastic human being,
Yes.
fantastic writer. I turned my mom onto
Fantastic
him.
hair. He's got the best
Yes.
hair of any.
Yep.
We tease him about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Best dresser.
Yeah, he's very well dressed as well. In
Yeah.
fact, Will and I are doing an event together March 5th at Poison Pen in Scottsdale.
Oh, actually, he did mention that. That's right. Because I'm going to be at the Creepy Book Club retreat
Yeah,
in
right,
Scottsdale right
right.
before.
I
And
know.
I'm like, no,
I
I can't
know.
believe I'm going
I
to miss
know.
you.
I know.
Oh,
Which that'll be
and
really I've heard great things about that. So I'm excited to hear how that experience goes for you too. So okay,
yes.
yeah. So I read that one too. That was a that one's a creepy one too.
Okay, well, I haven't read it yet. My mom actually read it before me, so I've got to get to it soon. But and then of course, I could
Oh,
not leave this one out. Pinky Swear by the none other.
yours truly.
Yep.
Thank you.
Very excited about these. And
That's
then
I'm sure, and a hundred other more. So tell
yeah.
our listeners what's the best way. Like if we want to, I know you have an incredible. Tell us a little bit about the book club because that was new to me. Even I hadn't heard of that until about a month ago.
Yeah.
And then what's the best? Like, what do you think is the best way if you're a listener right now and you're a thriller lover? What's the best way to sort of engage if you're not really ready to have a Bookstagram account of 100,000? What's the way to start?
Yeah. So first about my book club. The book club is virtual. It's about almost 3,000 people. Booked up girl, Steph from the UK, so across the pond. She actually reached out to me a couple years ago and was like, "Hey, I want to start this book club." And I was like, "Oh my God, I just started my business. There's no way." But okay, sure, let's do it. Because I couldn't not.
Right.
And then she was like, let's get a third person in case, you can't do it. And I'm like, all right, great. So then we got Sarah's Mystery Book Club. So between the three of us, I mean, that's over close, probably close to 300,000 followers, which is great because that's how we were able to quickly, build our book club members. So yes, we have them from across the world, even as far as like Australia, which is pretty awesome. And then we have authors. So we choose obviously the book every single month, and following that month, we have the authors on. And I think there were maybe three total authors that couldn't make it. So we ended up just doing a rolling chat in the book clubs app that we have. But yeah, we talk about the book, obviously spoilers included. I'm anxious to get you on to talk about Pinky
I know.
Swear.
Thank you for the invitation. I'm so
Yeah.
excited. I already have it. Yeah, I have it marked on my calendar. So that's
Yeah.
and you would give away, it sounds like, I know we talked about it, we're going to give away some copies of Pinky Swear
Yes.
in conjunction with the book club, and what a fun. So you get, even if you can't get yourself to a mystery thriller book club in your town, which I know, like, the town I live in is pretty darn small. We don't have a lot of that. So that's a really fun way. And it's called, tell me, let's see the name of it.
Oh, yes, that would be helpful. The Thriller Troop Book Club.
And we can go to, I know we can go to Bone Chilling Books, and in your profile, there's a way. That's how I joined the book club,
Yep.
was through the link on your Instagram page. So it's
Yeah.
fun. Okay, and then yeah, and so if you're like a reader, well, how do you suggest interacting with this crazy bookstagram world and finding your next great read?
Yeah. So, I mean, if you're just kind of sitting back and watching, I mean, create an account. And if you've got one that is public, that's great. Unless you want to keep it private, that's totally fine too. But if you're working your way up to becoming a bookstagrammer, I would definitely keep it public, keep it limited to just books for now. And then just really start engaging, following the ones that you are looking up to. So if you want to have a thriller only, Bookstagram, follow me, follow Crime by the Book, follow all the others that I follow, whichever. And then you just start engaging with them, whatever they put out, and then, authentic comments on their stories, on their posts, share their stuff, just really engage with them. But again, make it so it's, genuine, not forced or anything like that. And then I've had a lot of people reach out. They're like, I don't know, I'm shy. I don't really know anything about this world. Can you tell me about it? And I'm like, oh, yeah. So I send voice texts all the time, and I'm just like, here's everything that you want to do. And they're like, okay, that was a lot of information, but thank you. So, and then of course, people are always like, how do you get arcs? And I'm planning actually a post about that because I get that question a lot. And I just want other people to, because a lot of people are like, well, I don't have 7,000 followers, but I have 1,000 or 100, or and I still want to get free stuff. So there's a lot of like NetGalley. I'm sure you're familiar with that. You can
Yeah.
get that
I
way.
am,
So
but actually, actually, NetGalley ends up being like a really great way and kind of low barrier to entry, right? Because
yeah.
those are, and I actually, I get the arcs, which I love, especially for showing, when but I read so much that way because NetGalley is like it's a platform where publishers upload the books and you can request them a bunch of different ways. You can get them as PDF, you can get them to your Kindle. I have mine just sent to my Kindle app, and then that way I can read it on my phone, I can read it on my wherever I am and not try to haul around, 30 books.
They even have audiobook too, which is my saving grace, honestly. So,
Okay, that's new to me. I did not know
yeah,
that. Yeah,
yeah.
because right, you're driving all around carpools and whatnot. That's when do you listen to it at like 1.8?
We're like 2.5.
No way.
So it depends on
Wow.
the narrator though too. So this is how I always start my books. I start them all the time at 2.0.
Yeah.
And then if I'm like, whoa, this is way too fast, then I'll bump it down to 1.5, 1.8. Then once I get used to it and
Yeah.
I'm like really into the story, then I'm like, oh my God, like I need it faster. So
Yeah.
then eventually I get up to 2.5, but I've never gone over 2.5 because that's just like too much.
Insane. Well, so I do when I listen to Audible all the time. I 1.8 is about my sweet spot. I sometimes if it's a really heavy like Scottish accent, I'm like, whoa, I got to go back down to
Yeah. Yeah.
1.4 because I'm missing all those words. Well, this was so fun. Okay, well, so everybody who's listening right now, you got to go follow Bone Chilling Books, join the Thriller Troop. Am I saying that
Yeah.
right? Book club, which I will be on, I think in the spring, and I can't remember exactly the month, but that is what a gift that is. I'm so excited. And Megan, it's so fun to just like just first getting to know you. Also, I love like the way Megan does her lay flats. She has like I love that you have a comforter that has, is it like?
My gosh. Yeah, everyone's always like, "What is that? Where do I get it?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Well, so my aunt, which is my mom's sister, I call her Met, because I'm French, so short for Met. Anyway, so she creates quilts all the time, and she's actually got she's sending one to us right now, a Christmas quilt. But anyway, so one day she was like, "I really want to make you a quilt. Can you give me some ideas?" And I was like, "Well." And it was, here's my colors are purple. I love skulls, I love books. So on one side is all the pages of a book, and then on the other is purple, skulls, more books, that type of thing. And I was like, oh my God, this would be a perfect backdrop for my flat lays and stuff like that. So I started posting that, and then everyone was like, great books, but
Yeah.
where'd you get the quilt? And I was
Yeah,
like, well,
yeah.
I don't know.
I think that every time I see those pictures, I'm like, that is such a fun quilt. I had no idea it was him. Well, now I understand why I've never seen it anywhere else. I love that, and I love your purple. Your logos on the episode here, and all the things you do, and obviously your gorgeous face as well. So fun. I'm so grateful and I think that's as authors, we're so grateful to the people who call books and listen to them and support them and now we all just there's only one last question, which is like, when are you going to write your book? When's your
Oh, I know. You know how many people ask me that actually?
I
Like
mean
how
that's
many authors too?
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, it's funny because I've I've written a screenplay when I was
Right.
7
When you're
and I even
seven,
acted
okay,
it out.
awesome.
Yep.
Quite early.
Yep. But honestly, I've been writing for like little stories all the time ever since I was a little kid, through high school. And then when I graduated from college, I got myself a laptop and I was like, this is for my book only. And that was it. I didn't do anything with it. So it's gonna happen. It will.
Good.
I always say like I've got so many, ideas in mind, but then I'm always like, well, it's probably already been done, or it really has been done because I read everything. So it's gonna happen. I feel like it's gonna be that aha, like this is it, and then I'm just gonna start. So
So exciting. Well, I can't wait to have you on Killer Woman when
yeah.
when you'll come back when it's your book. Well, this is such a treat, Megan, to get to hear about the best books I love that you've introduced me to some books I've never heard of and hopefully other people I've never heard of. And also, of course, reminded us who our favorites are and why they're our favorites. So, what a gift.
Thank you. I really appreciate you having me on. This is really cool. And as soon as you asked me for your 200th episode, I was like, I can't, I got to do this. So thank you
I
and congratulations.
Thank you so much, Megan. And I'm looking forward to another fun year, 2026 of lots more book events. I know like there's so many that I want to go to. Like, have you been to Harrogate yet?
No, I want to.
Me too. Harrogate and Bloody Scotland and
Ooh, yes.
um, Iceland Noir. Anyway,
Hmm.
so we'll have to
Yeah,
start to coordinate some of our upcoming conferences here in the next couple years. But
I would love
um,
that.
in the meantime, everyone, if you're not following Bone Chilling Books and then you are not getting access to the best of the best, and what a fun gift for us today. Megan, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Everybody, this was Killer Women with Megan Mintchev of Bone Chilling Books, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.